All right, good afternoon, good people. Today is, what is today? The 10th? Yes. Today is Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. I'm Royce Fletcher Thomason here for another Wednesday Hope and Healing Hour, where each week we come on sharing uh, things to encourage, actually extend some hope, some love, some well-being, and certainly some healing. I'm seeing this indication. I don't know if that means that I have somehow lost internet connection or not, but I'm just going to keep going. Hopefully, hopefully we are broadcasting successfully. Uh, so we'll see. At any rate, we're here each week. We definitely want to offer some encouragement, some hope, share and spread some love and some light, and also healing. I'm blessed with the gift of healing. It's a gift that exists within all of us. Really, the gift is accessing it. Um, but we offer that as well for people who have pain and sickness and dis-ease that they're dealing with. We offer support in that area as well. And it's something that we're glad to do. We're thankful for the opportunity to do. We know that there are people who have experienced a lot of health challenges, whether physical, mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual, and otherwise. And we believe through practice that we don't have to actually dwell in those unfortunate states. That there is healing that is um, that is available. That actually every single condition that we would deal with is actually a function of just some area in our life that we've not fully welcomed in the light and the love of God into that area, into that particular space. And then it ends up manifesting in different areas of our lives that could bring challenges and difficulties in terms of life experiences, in terms of physical health, and otherwise. So, hello to whoever is here today. We're certainly glad to have you. We do have kind of a specific focus for today's Wednesday Hope and Healing Hour. And if anybody has any questions, any comments, feel free to drop them down in the chat or just to say hello. I'm always glad to know who's here. It sure does beat the heck out of staring at this green dot that I'm looking at right now. And I see somebody is logged in, probably from the Transcending the Matrix Facebook group, because it's just showing Facebook user. I can't see who it actually is, but whoever that is that's commenting in the chat. I'm presuming from the Transcending the Matrix Facebook group. Welcome. It's good to have you. If you don't mind saying who you are, that would be pretty cool too. I definitely appreciate that. And much love and light and blessings to everybody who's come through and who's here today and who might catch this in a playback. We're broadcasting onto Facebook, both from my personal Facebook profile as well as from the Transcending the Matrix group on Facebook. And we're also broadcasting live onto the Matrix Healing YouTube page. So infinite blessings to everybody who checks out this video. Uh, may it bring some level of an infusion of light to everybody who sees this, everybody who's connected with this. All right. And so today's topic um, is an interesting one. It was sparked actually this past Sunday evening, and I don't know how many of you all happen to have caught the Super Bowl this past Sunday. I happen to be in Tampa, where the Super Bowl was played, and actually, the Tampa Buccaneers were the team in that game, and actually ended up winning the game. It was the first time ever that a team has played in the Super Bowl in their own stadium. But anyway, um, there was something that was interesting to me. There was a lot that was interesting to me in terms of the halftime show. And I don't think I even watched the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure I didn't watch the Super Bowl last year. I haven't been watching anything in the NFL for a while. But I am here where there is family, and to me, it was just an excuse to connect with family. So I hung out with my sister and brother-in-law and nephews and niece while the game was on, and I found it really interesting the halftime show. And who here might have happened to have caught that halftime show for the Super Bowl this past Sunday? I'm curious to know who saw it, what your thoughts or what your feelings uh, were regarding it. Then we're going to kind of address some things concerning that um, and the spiritual response to kind of what happened there. Um, Yeah, I don't want to say too much just yet. I want to give some time to see if anybody wants to make any comments about what your take was on the halftime show, and we're going to end up addressing it spiritually for sure. Um, so if anybody wants to jot something in the comments, we certainly welcome that. Um, and while we're waiting on you to do that, so I confess I am not necessarily 100% up on current music that's being released or current artists that are out there. The artist who performed for the Super Bowl halftime show, uh, his name he goes by The Weekend as a stage name. I don't know much about him. I don't know his music at all. Um, but there were some interesting things that took place during this halftime show that I really feel, from my perspective, was broadcasting darkness. Um, and really, if I'm just going to call a spade, I think it was a demonic halftime show. um, from the dark angel descending to the uh, what seemed to be a choir of fallen angels to the you know there's a period where I've never seen this in a halftime Super Bowl Super Bowl halftime show where the performer actually turned his or her back to the audience. I thought that was really, really interesting. And I'm going to kind of talk about some of these things in a little bit further detail momentarily. And then there was a period where uh, it was like very disorienting, to the eye, almost hypnotic and very disorienting. There was a gold background, and there were like weird things happening with the camera angles and everything. And and then at one point, the uh, all of the performers marched onto marched onto the field. It looked like they were wearing almost looked like gas masks. They weren't black or brown though. They were white, but it almost looked like gas masks. They were marching in a very regimented manner. Um, they're all wearing red jackets, and um, then at some point things just got kind of chaotic on the field. And some people have said, I didn't actually see this. Some people have commented where the word Satan was flashed in different places. There was some point where it was showing a city, but the way that it made the buildings look was as if they were tombstones. And and there was just a lot of darkness that was that was present and that was captured. And yeah, Yeah. Um, I don't know if you've seen it. I don't have any desire to go back and look at it again. But there were a few things that did catch my attention, such as, like I said, the dark angel descending, the choir of fallen angels that ended up going out on the field like an army, like the Red Army, in fact. The Like I said, with the jackets they were wearing, and then the gas masks. What I know they weren't gas masks, but that was the appearance, the appearance of gas masks or somebody being restrained, you know, um, similar to Hannibal Lecter um, in the Silence of the Lambs, if any of you all have seen that. But there was definitely like this deranged aspect, this deranged component to it. Um, in a year where last year was, I think by most people's accounts, there was a lot of heaviness last year, a lot of heaviness dealing with the concerns that people had with the pandemic and lockdown and whether people agreed that it should be happening or not. There is a lot of heaviness in terms of racial tension. There was a lot of heaviness, regarding people dying and not being able to be in the hospital with loved ones when they're making their transition. And then here in this Super Bowl, it was almost as if it was glorifying that, as if it was glorifying death and gloom and doom. The piece with the I've always maintained that there is a certain darkness that is present within within the entertainment industry and in general, um, within certainly the music industry. Floyd D, greetings to you, and many blessings to you tuning in from YouTube. Uh, there, and I am a lover of music. I've always been a lover of music. As a hobby, I DJ. I enjoy the art of DJing. I love music, and there has never been a time in my life where I can recall not really, just really loving music. So I'm definitely not hating on music. I'm not hating on this particular artist that was performing in the Super Bowl or anything like that. I'm just recognizing. I'm recognizing, and I've recognized for quite some time, and I'm going to share it unapologetically here, that I believe that there is certainly an aspect within. Hey, greetings, Melanie. Much love and many blessings to you, my sister. I believe that there is a dark aspect within the music industry where there is a consciously designed plan, systematized plan to, that is not based on good intentions. That's not based on good intentions. And I firmly 100% believe that we are all spiritual beings having a physical experience. And yet I say that as a soul housing a body that happens to be of uh, housing the body of a black man. Okay, I'm real clear about that. I'm real clear that there's a reason that I am on this earth as a soul in the body of a black man at this particular juncture in human history. And when I was working with students, with young people in the school system, I would share with them that I believe that there is a systematized plan to keep people asleep, to keep people um, locked into something that is not really advantageous for their well-being. And in so many ways, in the music industry, particularly music that is geared. And I don't like to say this, but I mean, I'm going to call a spade a spade. It is what it is. A lot of the music, particularly that is geared towards Black folks, uh, it's interesting how this is done because much of the music, particularly like in hip hop and such, uh, much of the music is more destructive than constructive. And not just that, in terms of the messaging of the music itself, in terms of the devaluing of women, and in terms of the glorification of drugs and basically lewd lifestyle. But also take the videos, and you've got um, you've got people who are telling a story, if you will. Again, a story that's not uplifting. You give them all of this blame. You give them fame in the videos with male artists. You surround them with attractive women who are scantily clad, and then I mean that's something that then other people then go and look to and aspire to and want to embrace and embody because that's painting a picture of success, a picture that is perceived as being desirable, and they see that as the means to be able to get that. And so that's a message that's continually propagated throughout the community. And even in this halftime show, as demonic as I really do believe that it was, it's like the message is hiding in plain sight of what's going on. Okay. Even in that video, it's saying we are disillusioning you with the promise of gold. And gold happens to be my favorite color, by the way. I'm not hating on the color gold. I'm not hating on wealth. I don't believe that we're just all supposed to be in poverty either. But what I will say is there's this illusion that's propagated to have us disillusioned, to keep us, to almost sometimes subliminally, sometimes not so subliminally, have us hypnotized into going for something that actually is not something that's lasting, to have us going for something that actually causes us to put all other things out of focus. And, you know, the Master Jesus said that the perpetual crazed longing. Now, I'm just going to kind of put it in my own amplified version of that. The perpetual crazed longing for money above all else is the root of all evil that is out there in our world. Okay, and so we see that made manifest in so many different ways. We see that made manifest in so many different ways. I don't listen to a lot of the music that's being released now. I don't even know who a lot of the people are. This particular artist I heard of, but again, I can't name a single song that he's ever done. I don't know anything really about his music. I'm not listening to it, and I'm not just picking on him in particular again, but there are a lot of people who are looking to. I don't believe that a music artist should necessarily be a role model per se. But the reality is that people do look up to them. People look up to movie stars. People look up to professional athletes. People look up to singers. People look up to people who have a platform. And I'm not saying what any particular artist or any particular person with a platform should be doing. What I will say, though, is that this message of death and doom and gloom and glorification of death and darkness and the fallen angels um, and all of these things was broadcast to millions and millions of people on one of the things that more people see across the globe than anything else. Okay, that's the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl halftime show. Uh, what this particular artist is into, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. But what is clear is that a lot of people saw this. A lot of people were, I'm sure, on some level, consciously or subconsciously, influenced by it, impacted by it. Hey, Angela, good to see you too. And so, what the reality is, yes, there are people, there are systems, there are in the book of Ephesians, the 6th chapter, it says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and against forces of wickedness in high places. Okay. That is a reality. It is well for us to realize that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We don't need to be having an issue necessarily with the weekend or any other particular artist necessarily. There is a reality that there is something that is at work that would seek to not promote life, but detract from life. Okay. There's the preacher in me is trying to sneak out a little bit. Hey there, Trisha. Oh, your comment disappeared. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, hello to you and welcome. Okay. So at any rate, there in the music industry, I believe in the film industry, and a lot of various forms of media, there are messages that are broadcast, and there are people in high places who actually are in a position to uh, kind of determine certain narratives, or are able to kind of determine what stuff ends up going out there. You know, I understand that this artist put $7 million of his own money into the this halftime show being done. And I don't know how much the whole thing total cost, but what I do know is that it was quite a production and that it was filled with darkness. Okay. It was definitely filled with darkness. There is a lot that is put out there. And the halftime show was what, 15 minutes? I don't know, maybe somewhere around there. Debbie Hodges, happy Wednesday to you too. And to whoever that Facebook user is from probably the Transcending the Matrix group or some other group that someone might have shared to, welcome. I can only see Facebook user. It's not showing the name, but greetings and welcome to you too, as well as to you, Anthony. So if there are people in high places, if they're powerful people, if they're people who are wealthy, who are putting out energy that is of darkness, or putting out demonic energy, what do we do with that? What do we do with that? Right? Okay. I believe that we don't have to curse the darkness. We don't have to yell at the darkness. We don't have to get on the bandstand and talk about how much we hate the darkness. That stuff doesn't actually make the darkness go away. All right. If you walk into your home and it is dark in there, you walk in there at night and it's dark in there, what do you do to make the darkness go away? What do? You just turn the light on. You turn the light on. And so I perceive myself to be a light worker. I perceive myself to be one who is called to bring the light, to embody the light, to shine light in certain areas as a healer. I believe that all sickness and all dis-ease is the result of some darkness that exists somewhere in some aspect of our body, in some aspect of consciousness. And that by bringing to that space that's cut off, that's in darkness, the presence of the light of God's love, that the result is that the darkness disappears and healing is automatically made manifest. I believe that you and I and anybody who's on the planet who considers themselves to be a child of God, who considers themselves to be a being of love and light, that we've got a responsibility to shine the light more brightly, to be diligent and vigilant in the process of letting our light so shine. And I confess I have not always done that. I confess that there is a time where I, for the sake of my own comfort, um, I allowed my light to be hidden under a bushel. But I want to encourage all of us to, with diligence, allow that light of God's love to shine in our hearts and allow our message to go forth. There has been something that has been placed in each and every one of us. There has been a light that has been the foundation of our existence ever since we were, before we even entered into our mother's womb. That's the essence of who we are. And I believe that we have, on a certain level, a responsibility to allow that light to be activated, to connect with other people who we perceive to be on a similar wavelength, in terms of letting that light shine. Because when we do come together, it isn't my light plus your light. It actually builds and expands exponentially. There's a synergistic effect that's made manifest as a result. Yes, people in Hollywood, or people in the music industry, or people in big business, they can certainly do things that are focused merely upon, even politics can certainly do things that are focused merely upon fulfilling their own agenda, which may not be that which promotes life and that more abundantly. But we can very intentionally be about that business. We can very intentionally and diligently share the light that is in us. And we all have light that's in us. We don't have to go continuously arguing with people who don't see things the way that we do. But what we can do is uh, we can share our message with whoever will listen. We can seek areas of darkness that exist within us and seek to bring light to those areas. We can be really blatantly honest with ourselves and see where are we not being the fullness of who it is that we're called to be. We can again, I might be a preacher, but I'm not the only one with a message. Okay. I might be a healer, but I'm not the only one that can bring healing. Okay, we all have a message, every single one of us that is willing to listen to the voice of God speaking within our own being. We each have a message. And some of us are called to deliver that message in one way, and some of us are called to deliver that message in another way. Through some, it is through healing. Through others, it is through teaching. Through some others, it may be through the process of interacting with patients, um, or leading groups of people. For others, it may be through various artistic forms of expression. But we all have a light to share. We all have a message to deliver. We all have a purpose and a calling upon our lives. And the more we can tap into that, diligently live that out, express that, be true to the light that exists within us. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, I saw darkness in that halftime show, but I also have to acknowledge that there are areas of darkness that exist within me that I need to be willing to shine the light on, whether it's from um, past experiences, or socialization, things that I've learned or been taught, or whether it's through things that just exist within the realm of my own prejudgments. I believe that we all have areas where we have made some unfair determinations towards other people, or cast disparaging judgments, or um, we have somehow felt unworthy of love and blocked ourselves off from it, and pushed success or opportunities or well-being away from us, consciously or in most cases unconsciously, that we've done that. And so what are some ways? What are some ways that we can allow our light to shine more brightly? What are some ways that we can cast out the darkness by bringing in the presence of light? What do you? I'd love to hear you all's comments on that. What are your thoughts on that? What are your comments? I'd really be more than happy to hear from you all. Okay, and I've got some things that I'll share as well, but I'd really love to hear from you also. And I know that it's a little bit of a delay from the time that I'm saying it to the time that you hear it. So I just give you a minute to type something in the comments if you so choose to do that. And by the way, I really do appreciate your comments. It's always good to know, who's here. And, um, this thing isn't all about me, it's about us. It's about us all, you know, boldly going forth into the world in empowered ways and elevated ways. It's about all of us elevating, uh, growing, excelling. It's about all of us reaching a new level of wholeness. Okay. So Debbie asked, "Why do I think the show was dark?" Um, so it's definitely something that I felt. It's definitely something that I felt. I definitely felt a darkness. As a matter of fact, there were times I couldn't even look because I'm rather empathic. There were times I couldn't even look at it. I couldn't even look at it. I just felt the energy that was in it. I felt the energy that was in it. I could see people's. I like had a vision. I could see people's internal response to it. Um, you know, like I said earlier, it started out um, with this like choir of dark angels with red eyes singing. And what they were singing wasn't anything, that was set out to glorify God. I don't even remember what the lyrics were that they were singing. Um, and then there was the dark angel descending. There the I'm sure that there were masks, dealing with COVID, but the way that the masks were done, it almost looked like gas masks. There was the way that the city was made to, particularly when they panned out further out, the way the city was made to look like a graveyard. Okay, it was just to me, it seemed to be glorifying death. It seemed to be glorifying chaos. Okay, it seemed to be glorifying to me, it seemed, like I said, it just seemed to be glorifying darkness. Even in terms of everything that was on the screen, it was actually physically dark. It wasn't like bright. It was actually dark. And that's not solely why I say that I perceived it to have been, a display of darkness or a broadcast of darkness. But like so much, it even uh and something else that I'll say that I really don't like. One of the things that in the United States where I am and where I know some of you are, not everybody who comes here is from the United States. Other people come in from other places. One of the things that was huge last year was things dealing with race relations, right? That was something that was huge. Now, the reality of the matter is no matter what color skin we're in, I believe that we're all one people. We're all one people. We might be wearing different earth suits. They might look a little bit different, but we're all one people. Notwithstanding, this past year in 2020, there was a lot of tension dealing with matters of race. There was a lot of tension in that area, right? One of the things that, and it is certainly the case that in many, 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 many instances, um, there are certain ways that media is much more prone to uh, project Black people as being. And yes, it is understandable that people, as a result of that socialization and those continuous depictions, would maybe have some degree of fear. And um, this is just for me personally. I didn't like the vibe that you've got all of these Black people marching out onto this field wearing like these gas masks, and then the behavior becomes very erratic. I think that that kind of thing helps to solidify a sense of fear in a certain type of people, or people of a certain ethnic identity. And I don't vibe very well with that. To me, this year would have been a perfect year to have focused on unity and wholeness and hope and life and elevation, resurrection, redemption, new beginnings, um, hope, things of that nature. And that was certainly possible to have been, but that's not what happened with this particular Super Bowl halftime show. I'm not necessarily expecting the musical industry to be who's going to take responsibility for embodying light and broadcasting light into the atmosphere. I, as a person who considers myself to be a being of love and light, do, however, take responsibility to do that, and I want to encourage all of you to do the same if you uh, if you feel so inclined to do so. So Trisha says, um, one of the things you feel like you can do to help embody and spread that love and light is reaching out to people who show their love and light helps. Yes, yes, it does. I agree with you on that. Um, and Debbie says that, yeah, you didn't like that all the dancers were men with masks on. Yeah, I hear you. Anywho, what would be really awesome, by the way, to have some kind of help with the production aspect of this. There are certain things that are my strengths. There are certain things that aren't necessarily my strengths. I would much rather focus on the actual healing, the light, the extending of hope, and all of that aspect, than doing the behind the scenes stuff at the same time too. It just helped me to stay more focused. Anyway, I do want to check in with you all, see how are you all doing out there. How's everybody feeling? Mm. I was gonna have some water, and I don't have too much water here. Uh, Debbie said this it's a symbol of death to Black masculinity. Yeah, there is definitely plenty of that out there too. Um, Angela said that even the color red to you had an underlying message. What to you was that underlying message, Angela, if you don't mind sharing? And Floyd, by the way, mentions about having an issue with COPD. So we'll see if we can take a moment to address um, that COPD issue. We may not have too long to address it. We should be able to take. Okay, said fire, evil, being satanic. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, And my whole point, by the way, of mentioning and addressing this halftime show wasn't even so much to get hung up or caught up in the halftime show itself, so much as to realize that, in 15 minutes, there was a lot of darkness that was broadcast all over the world. And so that what that says to me is that the darkness can't conquer the light, right? The darkness can't conquer the light. The darkness doesn't even comprehend the light. For in its presence, the darkness automatically disappears. What my hope is that we can actually respond with light, that we can respond with light, and that we all have our own different strengths and talents and abilities. We all have our own given interests and things of that nature, but we all also have light that is within us. And the more willing we are to share that light, and maybe there's some areas where we can step up our game. Maybe we can allow ourselves to be a little bit less distracted, maybe from other things that would keep us from letting our light shine, or keep us from intentionally putting that love and light out there in a way that can be most beneficial, in a way that can be most purposeful and useful, and reach as many people as we can. Okay. Another thing is, maybe it's an and see, I believe that we have power that is placed within us. Scripture says that we've been given power over all the power of the enemy, right? And I do believe that we can tap into that power. And one of the things that I started doing consciously, not that I never did this before, by the way, but particularly after seeing that halftime show, I just started, and I'm in Tampa where all of this took place. I started consciously just seeing the city, seeing the country, seeing the earth filled with light, and filled with love. You know, Scripture says that we are made of the same stuff that God is made of. That's powerful. That's powerful. That is super powerful. Sometimes we need to speak some things into existence that might not appear to be present currently. Sometimes we need to hold a vision in our mind's eye of seeing things unfolding in a way that is um, in alignment with what we understand to be goodness and life and light and joy and love. Okay. Sometimes we need to hold that vision in our mind's eye, regardless of what things seem to be going on in the earth realm of the kingdom of God having already descended upon the earth, right? Speak those things that be not as though they actually already were. If you say to this mountain, be moved from here to over yonder, and truly believe with everything that's in you that it has, it doesn't have any choice but to be obedient to that. We are so powerful. There is so much in us. That divine spark of God exists in every single one of us. We have co-creative power with God. And as such, we can command certain things into being. And I'm not saying demand, I'm saying command, in the way that something beautiful commands a certain feeling, in the way that um, in the way that uh, a beautiful piece of music, or a beautiful sunrise or sunset commands a certain feeling. We can command the presence of the light of God's love to fill the earth. We do so by holding in our awareness and in our beingness this vision that it's not something that is coming, but it is something that is already present, that is actually present and real and active and alive in the right now, in the right now. Because in truth, there is no past, there is no future. All time is something that we're processing through our limited perspective, but it's all happening all at once. That's why God knows the end from the beginning, because it's already a done deal. And if we are able to be present to, if we're able to actually enter into that feeling space of things already being the way that we are desiring them to be, they have no choice but to manifest in our outward experience as what we would say time unfolds, right? I've seen that happen before. I've seen that happen in terms of some amazing things, whether it's shifting weather patterns or, all kinds of different phenomenal things taking place. In terms of all types of phenomenal things taking place. Now, speaking on that, Floyd, you mentioned about having an issue with COPD. Can you share a little bit about what your experience with how does that manifest for you? How do you experience that? And by the way, there's a landscaping person just outside my window, so I apologize if you hear the noise from that. We'll continue to press forward, even if it is there in a distraction. Okay. So just waiting to hear from you, Floyd, on how COPD manifests in your life, and how that specifically impacts you. Okay. And if anybody else has anything going on, please feel free to share that as well. Certainly happy to address that. And while we're waiting on Floyd to respond, I'm just going to invite all of us who are here right now to just breathe in the light of God's love into our hearts, and to breathe out that light of God's love. So the love is all that we're breathing in. So the love is all that we're breathing out. And just allow that light and that love to grow and expand in your heart, even filling your body. With each breath, breathing in God's light and God's love into your heart space, breathing out from your heart space that light and God's love to the point that it begins to fill your entire body. And then, even beyond filling your entire body, creating a glow that extends even beyond your physicality. Okay? All right. And then even allowing it to fill the home or the building that you're in, extending out even into the neighborhood, across the city, and just continually expanding with each breath, breathing in more and more of the light of God's love into your heart space. And with each exhalation, that light and that love expanding out of the country, across the oceans, across the globe, and seeing the whole earth ultimately encompassed with this light of love that is flowing through your heart. Yeah, yeah. And let's continue to do that as we address Floyd. So Floyd, you said that you quit smoking 20 years ago, and now COPD has come into your life. There are times that you cannot breathe. And when you say you can't breathe, you definitely mean that. Okay, I hear you. How is your breathing right now, Floyd? As all of us continue to breathe in light of love into our heart space and exhale that light of love, allowing it to continue to expand. Are you able to breathe okay right now, Floyd? If you can just share. Okay, you've been on medications. Um, how are you feeling right now, though? What is your breathing like right now? And how often do you have difficulty with your breathing? Okay, you can just kind of share that. Okay. And while you're doing that, um, I'm going to just go ahead and get started. I'm going to say a quick little prayer here. God, I know you to be a healer. Through the union we share through the power of pure love, the God in me calls forth your healing power and demonstrates you as a healer on behalf of my brother and your son, Floyd, neutralizing the root cause of all what medicine is labeled as COPD, all difficulty breathing, all restrictions in breathing, from the root cause and the entire energetic structure of every strand of DNA and every cell of his body, every string particle of his existence, and transmuting that into and replacing it with a sense of ease and grace, effortlessly breathing of his own volition. I bear witness to his holiness on this date and in this time and space called now. Thank you. Thank you for this gift of your divine love. It is done. It is done. It is done. Okay. So you said you use a machine for uh, breathing 6 to 8 times a day, that you breathe very slowly all day long. Okay. And I'd like to ask you real quickly to just take a deep breath right now, Floyd, and share how does that feel? And if you want to come on camera, uh, yeah, if you want to come on camera, I should be able to bring you on camera, and then we won't have to deal with the delay. Okay, but let's look at. Okay, so when you try to breathe deeply, it makes you cough. All right, so let's look at so the process of breathing, the process of taking in breath. There's a term in Hebrew called ruach, and that word ruach simultaneously means breath, it means wind, and it means spirit. And so want to just look at any sense of feeling on any level unworthy of uh, taking in the presence of God. Okay, so let me see if I can send you this link. I believe that it will post to. I believe that it will post into YouTube, and you should be able to click on it. Okay. It's not showing up on Facebook for whatever reason, but it should be showing up in YouTube, Floyd, where you're apparently watching from. So if it does, just click on that. And if you want to be on camera, that's great. If you don't want to share your camera and you want to just be on audio, that's fine too. I'm going to put this out there for everybody to remind me in case I forget. I've got a mic plugged in, and this mic is not attached to headphones. So if Floyd does come on uh, and I'm talking and you can't hear me, or I'm talking and I can't hear Floyd, just remind me that I need to unplug the mic. The audio quality may diminish a little bit, um, but that's the only way I'll actually be able to hear. Okay. All righty.
Sorry. How you doing?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're on a breathing machine. You say like 6 to 8 times a day.
Yeah.
When you really all day long, you have some difficulty breathing. You have to breathe very slowly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And just a moment ago, when you tried to take a deep breath, it caused you to have to start coughing. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. No worries. We'll see what we can do to offer some level of support to at least give a little bit of relief if we can. All right. Now I'm going to share with you. I maintain that there is nothing that is beyond God's ability to heal. How good of a vessel I might be for any given moment is a different question, but I believe without a doubt that there's nothing that is unhealable. Okay. So let's just take a moment real quickly and just kind of give a boost to your sense of worthiness, of um, being one with the breath of God. And also in connection with that, let's deal with any guilt or any shame connected with the period of, I think you said you quit smoking 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. How long had you been smoking prior to that?
Probably 25 years.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of address any like emotional stuff as it relates to that, in terms of any guilt or any shame, or even anything that might have been in any way, quote unquote, like self-medicating for any like unresolved pain that the smoking might have, or void that the smoking might have been sought out as a way to fill. Okay. And just kind of give some boost to just self-acceptance and self-forgiveness and overall self-love. Okay. I want to look at actually the element of fire and address a excess in the element of fire, reducing that by 350%. We want to kind of help balance that out. And let's look also at the element of air and deficiency in the element of air. And let's boost that up 577%. Okay, how are you feeling right now, Floyd?
About normal, and for what I've been, about normal.
Okay,
I
so
take a breath, I'll start.
you feel the same as before, or you feel any shift at all?
No, not really. I can hear my wheezing. I don't know if you can hear it.
Okay. All right. So let's look at let's just look at your respiratory system as a whole. Okay. And when did you develop the COPD, by the way?
I've had it for a few years now.
Okay.
Every couple of years it really comes on, and they want to put me in a hospital, but I'm not keen on hospitals. So.
Okay. All right. I hear you. Okay. So let me see here.
You said it's been a few years now?
Every other year it comes up with this pretty bad.
Okay.
Last year wasn't too bad. The year before I was in the hospital with it.
Okay, so every other year. What's this every other year about? Um, and how many years ago would you kind of guesstimate that this started?
I'm gonna say it come up probably 6-7 years ago.
About 6 or 7 years ago?
Started coming on, yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's see. Do you remember anything else that was going on in your life around that time?
Not really. Nothing serious, anyways.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Um, all right. Let me look at some ancestral trauma. All right. I'm getting something. I don't know who in your ancestry this might have been, but I'm getting something about somebody. Um, Somebody actually in the family actually died in a fire, but not from the fire, from the smoke inhalation.
I
So a
had a
lot of times-
cousin that went through a fire, but that's not what he burnt the skins and everything, but he lived through it.
Yeah, well, this could have been a long time ago. You know, I've known of situations that were several generations back. Okay, now would you mind trying to take a deep breath right now and see what happens?
Once, but I'm not coughing, so.
Okay, all right, but I can hear a little bit of the wheezing there. Okay, so okay, there's another cough.
His name is Dave Anderson. He died in the fire.
Okay, now
A friend of mine, Dave Anderson, he was a firefighter. He died in a fire.
okay. Not actually showing that as an issue connected with this though. Okay. So I don't necessarily know a lot about COPD specifically. What exactly is it, or what does COPD stand for?
I'm not sure myself. I just call it COPD.
Okay. Did they say it's an issue with your bronchial tubes or the actual lungs,
The lungs.
or
It's in
with the
the
actual lungs
What's it
themselves?
called, Trisha? Did you hear her? Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.
What's the O stand for?
Obstructive?
Oh, okay.
Obstructive, Trisha? Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Trisha C. Is that your daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Trisha. All righty.
She said hi.
Okay, so let's see here. So, and we might need to do some follow up off camera, but let's see what we can find here real quickly, though, Floyd. So, let me see if I can get a sense of what what this obstruction is connected to.
I keep on telling my daughters, keep on smoking. You'll catch up to me.
What's that?
I keep on telling my daughters to keep on smoking. They'll catch up to me one day.
Okay. Well, we don't want to put that out in the atmosphere. Okay. So there was something that just came to my mind. I don't even recall what that was, but we're going to go ahead and address that and provide some support where that's concerned. Okay, there's some connection with some fear. So let's kind of address some of those. fears that might be connected to the COPD issue. Okay. Okay, so we want to actually just kind of give you an overall boost as far as, different fears that could come up as it relates to okay. Okay, you want to try to take a deep breath now, see what it feels like? Okay. So let's look at deep breath. Taking a deep breath. Obstruction. What about this obstruction? I want to see what this obstruction is connected to. Okay. All right. So let me. I'm not getting exactly what the obstruction is connected to just yet. Well, let's do some other stuff. And get any fears as it relates to growing old or fear of the body breaking. I don't mean in terms of you aging, but in terms of any subconscious thing there might be in terms of the body just kind of using the word that I'm looking for. There's a word that I'm looking for. Deteriorating.
I've had back surgeries, but that's neither here or there, really.
Okay. When you had the back surgeries, what part of your back was it on?
The lower back. I went down the water slide and slipped my spine a half inch. Water in the pool. I was with my daughter Trisha. She was sliding down with me.
Oh, wow. Okay. And you didn't take in any water at that time, did you?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
All right. So let's see. And this diagnosis came about 6-7 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Gets worse every other year or so.
Yeah.
That is for some reason kind of evading me. What that every other year thing is representing for you.
I mean, I had it mild last year.
Mm-hmm.
Every other year it seems like it comes on. It's been probably 8 to 10 weeks now with it. And they've given me medications. That's why they want me in the hospital, but I'm trying to hold off.
Oh, they want you to be in the hospital now, you're saying? Okay. All right. So let's see here. I feel like this would be kind of boring because I feel like I'm going to probably be kind of quiet for a little while. It'd be probably kind of boring for the broadcast. So for all of you all who are watching, I certainly apologize for that. But give me just a moment here.
The warm weather, it's not too bad, but I'm in a cold weather situation now, and it brings it on.
Okay. Is it typically more difficult for you to breathe when the weather's cold?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's look at weakness in terms of your body's response to the cold weather. So we're going to kind of balance you out to whether the weather is warm or whether it's cold, that you're going to be equally fine and be able to breathe just as well. Also, whether it's an odd year or whether it's an even year, you can
I never
still
thought
breathe
about it that way.
well regardless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's usually the odd years that you have more difficulty?
Well, it's been the past 3 years that it's gotten worse.
Okay.
Last year wasn't too bad. I didn't wind up in the hospital, but the year before I did.
Okay. And then what about 2017?
I didn't wind up in the hospital, but I don't know. I don't think it was too bad.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see here. All right. Let me look at any toxicity. Okay. Whether it be from like heavy metal toxicity.
Uh,
No, I'm not asking you. I'm just telling you what's coming up.
yeah.
And it may not be anything that you have any conscious awareness of. Okay. We'll have to flush that through your lymphatic system and out of your body. Okay. When you engage in certain activities, does it make it more difficult for you to breathe in typically?
Almost anything right now, even just walking is right now.
Just like if you were to walk from one room to the other, that would be. Now, are you on oxygen or anything?
Not yet.
Okay, but you go on a breathing machine.
I do a nebulizer. 6
Okay.
days a day.
Okay, all right. And what exactly does that do?
It kind of loosens up everything in the lungs a little bit.
Okay,
And I'm good for a little while. I mean, I could be good for an hour. I could be good for 6 hours. I never know.
okay. So you got some tightness in your lungs? Is that
Oh, yeah.
what I'm hearing? Okay, all right. So let's look at the tightness in the lungs and kind of help to loosen that up. Excess tension. Excess pressure. Help that relax. And for your lungs to feel actually safe to relax. To decompress. And free to expand. Okay, what's that feel like right now? Okay, so that kind of gave me my answer. So how often do you end up coughing during the day? Like, I'm not asking how many times a day, but how often can you typically go without finding yourself coughing?
A coffee?
Without coughing?
Oh, without coughing. Sometimes I can go maybe a half hour, 45 minutes. And then if I do just a spray inhaler, it helps out for a while. And I might make an hour here or there.
Okay. All right. So you've coughed definitely several times since we've been on together, and that's definitely been less than a half hour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Is that typical, or are you coughing more now than you usually would?
That's typical.
That's typical?
Yeah, the more I move around, the more I cough.
Okay. All right. So, and you haven't really been moving around a whole lot since we've been on either.
No, not moving. No, not since I've been on here.
Yeah. And are you standing or sitting?
I'm standing.
You're standing? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And well, I wouldn't imagine that standing would necessarily cause you to lose your breath any more than sitting.
Doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see here. All right. Okay. I don't want you to worry about changing your breathing right now, but I do want to ask, what does your chest actually feel like on a normal basis?
If I don't have this, it feels good. I mean, right now I can feel pressure in it for breathing if I breathe too deep.
Okay. And if you're just breathing, if you're not breathing too deep, do you feel pressure?
No.
Okay. All right. So let's look at the pressure.
There's fluid in my lungs too. I'm sure of it.
Fluid in your lungs?
Yeah, but it's just it's part of it.
Okay. And you don't have congestive heart failure or anything?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So let's look at all of that.
They've tested me for pneumonia, and COVID-19. I don't know how many times on 19.
mm, that was always negative?
Yeah.
Mm, okay. Okay, what does your chest feel like right now in terms of the pressure?
If I breathe deep, I'll feel it, but I'm not breathing deep right now, so I'm comfortable, kind of.
Okay. So let's deal with the expectation of having difficulty breathing. I'll kind of remove that expectation. Okay, what's that feel like right now? Do you feel pressure right now in your chest?
No, no, I'm not breathing real deep, so.
Okay.
If I breathe deep, I can kind of feel it.
Okay.
And I'm even starting to wheeze more and more.
What's that?
Starting to even wheeze more and more right now.
Right now, you say you're starting to wheeze more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm probably going to have to do the machine, but
And you don't have asthma?
there may be a touch of it.
Okay. So in your environment, you're at home right now, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay. So in your home, um, is there like a lot of moisture in the air or
No.
any mold or anything like that? Or?
Nope. I've gone through and I bought the house 30 years ago. I've gone through and done everything all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's,
Okay.
I've done general contracting too. So,
Okay.
All
right. Let's see.
I did run some mold test kit, so just to check.
Mm-hmm. And that didn't show there to be any issues or anything.
No.
Okay. Boy, I am just, there isn't a whole lot that's coming up for me right now, which is odd because usually I'm able to see more stuff right now for whatever reason. So, let me do a little work on myself for a moment. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot. What's it like right now? About the same or any shift at all?
About the same. It's
okay. So let's look at.
You got to be able to hear the wheezing now. It's really.
Okay. All right. I'm not actually finding much else. Let's connect sometime off camera
Okay.
and not right now because just nothing else is coming up right now
Yeah.
for in terms of what's at the. So for every issue, even stuff that manifests as a physical health issue, there's always something underlying that's at the root cause of that thing. Okay, and it's a matter of finding what that root cause is. Just like if you had some trash and something that was rotten in the trash,
Yeah.
you can spray some Lysol. That's not going to get rid of it, you know, until you actually take it outside. You know that odor is going to stay in there.
Right.
You know, you got to address that root, or just like having a weed, you know, in the yard. You know, cutting it off at the top of the weed, cutting it off even at the soil, it's still going to grow back until it's actually uprooted. So I'm looking to get to what the root is, and I just haven't been able to find that yet. But I would like to get with you and go more deeply into that, and see what else can come up. And then maybe more questions I might just need to ask you, or get an idea, get some clues, and get a better idea of what's really at the root of this challenge with the breathing for you.
Yeah.
And that we can have it so that you're not having to suffer with this anymore.
That'd be nice.
What's that?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I'm sure. So tell you what you said. Trisha's your daughter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just have her message me, and I'll end up just kind of responding back to her.
Okay.
And we'll set up a time we can actually connect more directly.
Okay.
Does that work for you, Floyd?
Yeah. She gets on every day with you, I think, or just about every day, or every time you're on.
Well, I'm just on Wednesdays. But what I'm saying is we can connect directly rather than just doing it through the Facebook Live or YouTube Live or whatever.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And tell her. Well, I see somebody is still on. Trisha, if that's you, hi. If not, if you can tell her hi for me. And
She can hear you.
oh, okay. All right. Great. Okay. So does that sound like a plan then, Floyd?
Yeah. It won't be today,
Okay.
though. I got some stuff to do today.
Okay. That works. That works. Okay. All right. Well, many blessings to you. Many blessings to you all, and I wish you many moments and days and nights and weeks and months and years of joy and peace and love and wholeness and well-being and an abundance of blessings.
Thank you.
All right, you take care now.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.